Today's topic, the late, great Norman Lear, who was born in New Haven in July of 1922. The iconic writer, producer, and social activist who died last year at the age of 101 forever changed TV beginning in the 1970s with such comedy shows as All in the Family, Maude, Good Times, The Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, and Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. My guest has written the first comprehensive biography on the TV pioneer called Norman Lear, His Life and Times. Trip Wetzel, welcome and congrats on the book.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
We're delighted to have you. All right, you teach the only college-level course about Lear at Emerson College. How did you become so enmeshed in his life?
Well, like a lot of people who grew up in the 1970s, I just, loved his shows. I was gravitated to his shows. I mean, my grandparents watched them. I was a young kid. It was just what was on, and there were funny shows. And originally, I wanted to become an entertainment journalist, and when I was wanted to write about entertainment and television. And the 1980s, when they were doing a lot of books and individual television shows, I actually wanted to write a book on All in the Family and tried to, and wasn't really able to get it off the ground. I came close, but there were a number of things there. And then I started teaching a class on Norman at Emerson College, where we have the only comedy major in the country. And he went to school, and we have a statue of him on our campus in Boston. We also have a scholarship in his name.
The TV networks during the 70s took a big chance with Lear's taboo-busting sitcoms. Tell me about that.
Well, they did, but they were also at a real crossroads, because they were trying to attract, urban audiences, cooler, younger audiences, demographics, and they were, particularly CBS, and a lot of these had in the 1960s.
Let me ask you, was there anything Lear could not write? He did TV, he did movies way before these sitcoms.
So he did pretty much everything. He never wrote a novel, but he wrote, he wrote his memoirs, and he wrote just about everything, you can imagine, yeah.
And finally, why was social activism so important to Lear?
Well, in the 1970s, he was very alarmed by the preponderance of the Christian right, particularly guys like Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson, who were having such a huge sway on our political discourse. Jerry Falwell once called him the biggest threat to the American family, one of the most dangerous people in America, and he did it in response to that. Really, in the because he was so concerned about it. But he always had a very philanthropic, conscience, very strong social conscience, beginning when he was, actually a young boy living in Connecticut, where, he was born in New Haven, as you said, in 1922, and family later moved to Chelsea, Massachusetts, where his father was arrested for selling securities when he was 9 years old. And right after that, he heard a this vitriolic radio broadcaster by the name of Charles Coughlin on his ham radio, and that really, left a searing impact too.
I thank you so much for being here today and writing about Norman Lear. There's so much we don't know about him, and now it's in the book.
Thank you so much. It was a delight to be here.
Take good care.
You too.
And for more on Norman Lear, his life and times, go to WTNH.com or the News 8 app.